He's back and showing a little more game footage than he was at E3. For the first time you can play as Arnie and actually look like him too as you repel repeated attacks from the TX robot. Before that, revel in being the all-conquering villain and bring the human race to its knees.
How do you feel?
I'm not programmed to feel. I'm a Terminator.
What was your mission?
Terminate John Connor. Get down.
Does Skynet know you've been reprogrammed?
Affirmative. Come with me if you want to live.
We're trapped! There's more of them right behind me!
Many games have come and gone. Here's hoping it'll be third time lucky with T3. With 20 weapons and a 19-year-old film franchise to back it up, here's hoping for the kind of game we were expecting out of the Matrix movies. Hardcore gamers know this as a classic series of RPGs from Sega, but as it's developed by Square, it's always had to play second fiddle to the Final Fantasy games. You can choose from one of 7 heroes to embark on your quest, and the storylines overlap, meaning you'll probably meet any of the others as you go. Advance word on the title is negative, but with a UK release date in autumn, there's plenty of time to try and make the game more palatable to Westerners. Here's hoping this game, based on the Japanese comic heroes, won't be sucked into kiddie oblivion like the movies of the 1980s. Early reports suggest a pure beat-em-up versus classic villain Shredder and his henchmen. But there's also a story mode, so you won't be stuck at one single location for long. We'll bring you more information on how the game's developing ahead of its late October release.
There's no one better.
Watch out for Shredder!
They're like no others. Those teenage brothers. 1, 2, 3,
4. Clearly not content with making us dance around like uncoordinated fools, game developers now want us to sound like warbling idiots too. Expanding Konami's popular Dance Dance Revolution series, Karaoke Revolution features a remarkable list of tunes, taking in the current hits to yesterday's classics. Utilizing Sony's USB headset microphone system, players can sing along to their favorite tunes in 3 different game modes. Showtime mode looks set to be the main attraction, where you'll take on the persona of an aspiring pop singer, trying to make it big in this brave new world of shameless performances. Remember those side-scrolling shooters that swallowed up your 20 pences in the arcades when you were younger? Gradius 5 is one such game, and it's coming to PS2 soon. Featuring the return of Vic Viper, Gradius 5 offers 7 intense stages of classic arcade-style action, packed with 12 upgradable power-ups and spectacular-looking graphics. But if last month's exclusive peek at R-Type Final roused your interest in retro gaming, then you'll relish Gradius 5's surprisingly deep gameplay. The sequel to No One Lives Forever hasn't travelled over to PS2, but now we have the CY Girls, 2 futuristic female action heroes fighting against cyber terrorism in the real world and a different dimension. It's developed by Konami and won't be released until spring 2004 in the UK, so that's reason alone to take notice, as we expect much stealth and strategy to accompany the guaranteed waves of action. From the video, you can see that the extra time's being used to whip the best graphical performance from the console in years, and we'll bring you more in an updated preview later this year. The PS2 needs online games, and fast. SOCOM may have sold the headset, but now the makers of Dropship have another killer racing game to add to the shortlist of multiplayer games. Hardware will let them go head-to-head with racing differently sized vehicles against each other from a selection including jeeps, tanks and buggies. In short, it's the natural successor to Twisted Metal Black. There's only 8 vehicles and a maximum of 16 players, so here's hoping there'll be a multitude of levels to create longevity. We'll bring you more as the game develops. This robots combat game's all about the machinery. You are the leader of a race of slave robots controlled by General Corrosive. He's built his own army of machines to keep you under control. But over 50 missions across 6 landscapes fight for freedom, also with stealth as well as purely destructive combat. There'll also be aerial and ground-based vehicles to jump into and 11 other robot types to control and play, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. Sounds epic. We'll bring you more in a preview ahead of the game's November release. Rivals EA have the Lord of the Rings film licenses, but Vivendi have stayed with the books and gone in their own direction to make a game preceding the wider trilogy. It's the first PS2 game ever with a strategy guide nearly 60 years old. Locations and battles will stay faithful to the novel, as will the characters Bilbo Baggins meets on his travels. Aiming at family fun, there's also a mini-game known as Stone Lords. Hardcore players can ignore this and just get on with the quest. The journey begins again at the end of September. If you think Time Team is the be-all and end-all of archaeology, then you're sadly mistaken. Forget Tony Robinson. This is where the real discoveries are made. Swinging through lost temples, fighting evil Nazis and uncovering ancient and powerful artifacts. That's what it's all about with Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb. Featuring a completely original storyline with a host of new villains and monsters, the adventure begins in 1935 with Dr. Jones setting out to prevent a powerful Chinese artifact from falling into evil hands. This globe-spanning journey pits our fearless hero against Hitler's minions and the Asian underworld, as well as introducing him to a mysterious and alluring ally, Mei Ying. In all, there are 10 levels to explore, all packed full of deadly traps and hostile terrain. Indy has to leap, swim, climb and punch his way through exotic locales, ranging from the jungles of Ceylon and the underwater palaces of Istanbul to the deadly streets of Hong Kong and beyond. The fierce fighting action this time includes a lot of hand-to-hand combat, ranging from street brawls to full-scale martial arts battles. Of course, you'll still have plenty of chances to use Indy's trademark whip-'em pistol, but there's also loads of other hardware, such as shotguns, submachine guns, and a host of improvised weapons. The cutscenes provide an astute representation of Dr. Jones, and the atmosphere of the entire game is just quintessentially Indy. Add to this the opportunity to be Indiana Jones in such an awesome adventure, and you have a game that easily surpasses Lara's latest adventure. Once again, the Formula One bandwagon rolls into town, and we're pleased to report that Sony's latest update to its popular series is every bit as good as we'd hoped, containing all the up-to-date stats and ruling updates for the 2003 season. The full-on championship simulation is still the heart of the game, offering a choice of authentic gameplay options like realistic damage and changeable weather effects. Every computer driver on track now has the potential to make really dumb errors under stress, just like in real life, and the damage is now so realistic that you're as likely to be pushed off the track for an electrical fault as a missing front wheel. The cars sound and look realistic enough, complete with advertising and bobbing helmeted drivers, and should you make it onto the podium, their faces now appear in greater detail. It's not what we'd call a massive step on from last year's game, but at least the replays have been extended beyond the brief snippets they allowed you to view in the 2002 edition. Murray Walker's legendary shrieking is dearly missed, as he's now officially retired, which leaves Martin Brundle providing the main commentary and James Allen adding his mundane analysis in the background. Other improvements include the multiplayer hot seat mode, allowing you and a mate to take turns behind the wheel. Nice idea, but it's a little on the dull side. If you're after the definitive F1 game available today, then look no further. Formula One 2003 is the most complete and up-to-date game around. The full simulation mode is stunning, swallowing up a vast amount of your spare time, and the whole thing looks better than ever before. We love it. The fashion for putting sports on the beach has now moved from volleyball to the English national game. The developers want you to imagine the kind of super glitzy adverts filmed for every World Cup by certain boot manufacturers, where Brazilian beach footballers are gods and have to keep the pace of the football fast and upbeat. Sadly, any of those adverts would make a better game than pro beach soccer. It's certainly upbeat, but almost too fast. At times you think you're playing speedball rather than an officially recognised sport, as the ball travels at pinball machine speed around the pitch. The pressure's on to make the passes and score, rather than show any kind of footballing flair. This is where the real and virtual beach sports part company. Lack of depth is usually compensated by great-looking surroundings. That's hardly the case here. The commentary is limited. You can't edit player names, and the best animation is reserved for the players, at the expense of the cheerleaders and other fixtures around the edges of the pitch.
That's a life. That's a life.
That said, there's a comprehensive roster of teams featuring 32 sides that can be played arcade style or in a chronological season, in competition types that can be customised. Ultimately, the problem is that in comparison to Pro Evolution 2, Pro Beach Soccer feels like a massive step backwards. Avoid at all costs. One look at the graphics and you can tell that Chaos Legion is a large-scale Japanese beat-em-up. You control warrior hero Sieg Varheit, whose friend, Victor Delacroix, has turned to evil while Sieg's been away on a mission. None too pleased, he sets out to defeat his friend. Cue 13 levels of hack-and-slash mayhem as Sieg takes on hundreds of enemies. If you consider yourself a hardcore gamer, you can undertake this quest entirely alone, and this will give you the chaos of the title all the way through the game. Varheit can summon legions to help wipe out the literal hordes of enemies, either pointing out the enemies he needs help with or defending the hero with shields or formation firing.
I knew you would come without waiting for Superior's order. You've changed in the last 3 years.
You haven't changed at all? Same as always.
The 7 different legions on offer as you progress have different weapons and fighting styles favouring attack, defence or balance between the two. Sieg and his legion members can earn experience points with a raft of statistics generated at the end of every level. Slain corpses produce souls, which are collected in order to summon the different legions at your demand. There's little extra depth beyond that. The stats menu may provide a rest, and gamers may appreciate the break as much from the bland brownish colour scheme as the action. It's not a bad game, but Lord of the Rings The Two Towers is a rival epic scrolling beat-em-up along similar lines, with the backing of a 50-year-old fantasy world behind it, which may prove more immediately familiar to Western gamers. This classic heist movie starring Michael Caine is basically English heritage. It's recently been remade and the game tie-in was to be expected. This second game to be based on the storyline takes place in LA rather than Italy, just like the new film. You play ex-con Charlie Croker, swindled out of their share of gold worth millions and stolen to order. He hatches a plan with his gang to steal the loot back using a set of minis. The cars being the only link between the two versions of the film. In order to keep the game up to date, the minis will be modernised BMW version, though there will be different cars for each mission. The majority of the levels have you driving from point A to point B while avoiding the police, who will be trying to ram you off the road to make an arrest. The entertainment value is in finding the wackiest shortcut routes. You've got the leeway to mount staircases and other unconventional landscape features in the name of a good shortcut, though you have to be aware of both the time limit and the damage to your car. Sadly, the Italian job is a little too brief to be worthy of your £35. The stunt mode is entertaining and the time trials can be fun once you've learned the layout of the city, but with a lack of multiplayer options, we can only recommend a rental. Yes, the two-gun-toting babe with a thirst for glucose drinks is back again. So mass market that she can raid her creator's share price as well as those tombs. The moment the film of the game became a massive hit movie 2 years ago and all the preceding games re-entered the charts, a new game was as much a certainty as the sequel to the film, which just so happens to be out this summer. In fact, development was already going on for a year by then. The game looks great, as you can see. Now you've also got a male sidekick, Curtis Trent, who's also playable and more heavily armed. Lara herself can now sneak around with the use of a stealth move, acknowledging the rise of Splinter Cell and the ever-present Metal Gear series of sneak-em-up games. In keeping with modern games, there's a storyline attached, which sees Ms. Croft being accused of killing a former acquaintance, then having to pursue the evil Eckhart, who's hell-bent on raising an ancient race known as the Nephilim. No problems with this part of the game. The extra work put into a storyline and soundtrack pays off well. Shame that sometimes voices sound unintentionally hilarious.
I feel stronger now.
The camera movement shouldn't be something you'd fight against, and we'd have thought that a pioneering third-person franchise would have tried to sort out this perennial fault. It isn't any more bearable than in previous episodes. Despite the great-looking paint job, it's still good old-fashioned Tomb Raider under the hood, with all the unforgiving platform positioning that fans know and hate, and simplistic puzzling. Not being innovative enough in 3 years' development is what trips up Angel of Darkness. So if you want a Tomb Raider-style game now, just watch the movie instead and get Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb. Based on the American Dungeons & Dragons style board game of the same name, Hunter the Reckoning Wayward is your wildest slaughter fest dream come true. Forget about survival horror, puzzle solving and tension building. This simple arcade-style blaster is all about guns, swords and the quickest way to kill zombies. The town of Ashcroft has been host to zombies and vampires for all too long, and it's your job as one of 5 heroic characters to help save the innocent citizens. Each hero has specific spells, which can either heal or enhance the power of whichever weapon you choose to use. Special attacks and combos are all part of the fun too, but it's hardly a brain-taxing task overall, with huge sprawling sections of town awash with hundreds of easily disposed of freaks. Hunter the Reckoning Wayward shares much in common with the recent Evil Dead Fistful of Boomstick. The dimwit zombies and the town of Ashcroft itself are almost perfect replicas. But Hunter's 2-player mode and selection of characters look set to create a bigger, more rewarding game overall.
Hunter the Reckoning Wayward.
Forget what you think you know about EA's Need for Speed series. The latest such game is quite a departure from the annual updates we've come to expect. Clearly influenced by the likes of the Fast and the Furious and the recent sequel Need for Speed, Underground takes racing back to the streets. The emphasis this time around is on earning money to pay for spare parts and car upgrades, adding an extra layer of depth to the arcade racing formula. Winning will give you the money to access the better True Life branded spares. Other specific challenges will unlock other hidden vehicles or earn you one-off bonuses. The races are totally night-based, but there's no exciting police chases to round off levels, which is strange for a game centered around illegal racing. Eventually, you'll have 20 cars to work on, spending virtual cash and sweat on upgrading to an elite monster race car. You can put your pride and joy to the test in a single drag race where 3 drivers simply burn rubber down a long straight as fast as possible. While the street races will have you and your beloved shiny motor tearing through the mostly open city streets, chasing that prize money instead. When you've beaten the computer's 100 events, go online and take on 3 rivals at a time in the multiplayer races. We're getting very excited about this new Need for Speed, and that's not something we've said about any of its predecessors before. Quite how it will compete with the likes of Burnout 2 and Midnight Club 2 remains to be seen, but we're optimistic it won't be left choking on their exhaust fumes. War just keeps on selling, which is good news for the creators of Conflict Desert Storm, who are set to release a sequel that has you returning to Baghdad for another shot at Saddam. Your squad contains 4 men. The key to success lies as much in the hands of the medic and the airstrike coordinator as it does the gun-toting grunts, so be sure to share out supplies equally. The artificial intelligence of the enemy has been improved in the latest version of the game. Now they only attack in numbers, retreating for reinforcements and covering each other as they sneak up on each of your squad. When playing cooperatively with a partner, it should be fairly easy to keep your back covered. When playing alone with 4 characters to keep an eye on, things might get a little hectic. Ten missions might not sound like a lot, but they're large scale with shelling and heavy artillery to deal with, not just the guards.
Time's pressing on, boys. Delta 2 can't hold out forever. Apple 1, you have an enemy heading for your position. Over. Relax, Alpha 1. We have the target now. Just sit back and enjoy the fireworks.
Desert Storm 2 game pulls no punches in terms of the realism of war, so expect friendly fire, civilian casualties and plenty of the red stuff. It's one to watch when it's released in the autumn. The Canadian wing of EA developed this latest entry to its snowboarding sim series. That means the presentation's second to none. Development has come a long way since our comparative glimpse of the title at E3, and unusually the previous 2 games have been sidelined in favour of a much more open racing model. In short, you're on one huge mountain, split into several zones by its differing peaks, and there are no plans to make you snap out the tricks on cue or race to a restricted pattern, as with the original SSX and SSX Tricky. There'll still be challenges though, just to reassure you that you're not entirely expected to make up all your own gameplay. And as you can see, the graphics have been well taken care of, and 4 new riders have been added to the original 6 for character variants. The better you get, the more in-game currency you'll earn, which will buy you better boards, in a nod to street skateboarding games, and which works equally well here. When you prove yourself, the entire mountain will be opened up as a single epic climactic run. If you're not up to that, then the sessioning tool lets you cut straight to retrying stunts without reascending to your start point, continuing the almost seamless gameplay.
Is going to be tucking it up huge. Don't miss out. Check back for more here on Radio Big.
Come on, Allegra, stop spazzing out!
With 2 years of development behind it, it's almost a shame that the game will remain resolutely single-player, leaving the door open for anyone to challenge in the online area until version 4 arrives. However, unlike Madden and FIFA, this franchise is still young at 3 games old, and snowboarding's still an expensive specialist sport. So there's plenty of people who'd pay £35 for the game rather than hundreds for a whole week of the real thing with real cold, wet snow. We'll review the product of EA's hard work when it's released later.
Oh no.
Sit tight, people. Taking a pass through Devil's Horns for a little powder recon. Approaching the LZ. Prepare to unload.
The name of the sport, then a year date. It must be an EA Sports game. Hopefully there'll be some surprises on the pitch, if there are none in the title. The vote's been pushed out in terms of presentation. Real-life sports commentators Gordon Bray and all-round presenter John Inverdale lend their voices to the proceedings. 6 different rugby associations from across the world have given the game the seal of approval, allowing 20 different playable teams, including the famous All Blacks and universal rivals England and France. In addition to their leagues, with this massive choice, the player can create their own league as well. Your teams can be constructed from a squad of 30 with many stats to wade through to construct the perfect team. That makes a total of 1,500 players across the various squads. As you can tell, the accent is on making everything bigger and better this time round. So when you take that dream team on tour, 65 stadiums across the world are playable. In line with the FIFA and NHL franchises, the player models have been given the same graphical treatment as the backgrounds. There's a training simulator if you're a footballer, needing to refresh your memory on the rules. Tournaments featured are the World Cup, Tri-Nations, Super 12, Domestic, Master League and friendly matches. Being a sports game, 4 people can play in total, with a co-op mode for pairs. With the weight of a license, the game had to be comprehensive, but as ever, there was a previous edition a couple of years back. The game will be released in September this year, and that's when PSW will let you know if the updated team and competition data, commentary and the overall game is worth trading up to in a full review. No, it's not the latest snowboarding game as the name might suggest, but the latest twist on the rhythm action genre. It's the sequel to Frequency, the first non-Japanese rhythm action game, so you're getting more in the same vein. You use an avatar known as Freak to interact with the music. In this new game, it looks like a cross between the spaceship and a console gamepad rather than the 2D sprite it once was, and there are several other psychedelic effects as well rendered as the PS2 will allow. As a reward for doing well, avatars can then be transformed further with more limbs. You'll also get to do cut-ups and remixes of the music, though this usually works best with the purely dance selection of tracks, which are unconfirmed for the UK release. The 26 songs have 6 tracks visually arranged as if in a virtual studio, so the keyboards get one track, guitars the next, with drums, vocals and other expected mainstays of modern music recording. In the basic game, the player has to cue in the right notes on the right tracks at the right time to succeed, and this will translate as a perfect piece of music. To lengthen playability, the next song stays locked until you get all of the current song entirely right. For the music selection, there's the likes of Papa Roach, David Bowie, Slipknot, Garbage and Pink, making up some of the non-dance music in Amplitude. It doesn't stop at the end of all the songs. You can go online to perform team remixing and apply other aural effects to the songs. The best remixes, and any description of music quality is entirely subjective, can be judged and ranked by the masses. The original was a cult hit, so let's hope the sequel will do better on its release in late July. We'll let you know if we're rocking in the aisles very soon.
The segmentum solar, the cradle of mankind. Here is Terra, known to antiquity as Earth, the heart of the Imperium of Man. An empire of 1,000,000 worlds, the Imperium stretches across the galaxy. Besieged by aliens and monsters, attacked from within by heretics and rebels, for 10,000 years it has endured, protected by fleets of warships and legions of genetically engineered warriors. It is the 41st millennium, and there is only war.
Games Workshop is to bring the miniature figures of the Warhammer series to life on the PS2 in this first-person action title from developers Kuju Entertainment. The plan is to honour the board game roots of the wildly popular tabletop series while capturing the hearts and minds of the console generation. Fire Warrior is a fast and unrelenting shooter that has you taking on the role of a rookie soldier called upon to take arms against the advancing Space Marines. Using whatever weaponry you can get your hands on, be it a standard issue pistol or a Tau Pulse rifle, your job is to protect the alien settlements from the human invasion at all costs. The biggest challenge currently facing the developers is getting the right balance between action and roleplay. It's not yet clear how the Warhammer rules will impact on the actual game, Though with the title not due for release until the autumn, there's plenty of time for Kuju Studios to get it right. In terms of multiplayer, Fire Warrior will support both 4-player split screen and 8-player online. Look for our definitive review of this PS2 exclusive in the autumn. 3D platform action and shooting with an epic storyline brings reminders of the last Jak and Daxter game. But Alter Echo forges its own niche with an epic storyline, mad camera angles and an entire world that looks alive. On planet Proteus, a brand new building material called Multiplast has been discovered, out of which anything can be built, space-age Tupperware in other words. This would have been excellent if its inventor, Parvo, hadn't also developed Echoplast at the same time, which allows the stoppage and distortion of time itself, and gone mad in the process. It's down to Nevin to stop the crazy scientist from wiping out the human race before Parvo or anyone else can manipulate time for their own ends. The only problem with this mission is the army of monsters that stand between Nevin and the scientist. In addition to the many weapons and fight moves, Nevin's wearing armour made of the same biological material as the rest of the planet, which, as a living being, isn't all that happy with Mad Parvo. As well as leaving clues, it's the voice of Proteus that sets up the training mode in the early levels. Doing well with the starting attack combos will earn you the points needed to buy more of them, and later better weapons, stealth attacks and invisibility, and added climbing ability. Inevitably, there's going to be the Matrix-style bullet time. However, it's implemented seeing bullet time applied in everything from parody movies to cat food advertising is turning this camera trick into a well-worn cliché.
It seems a little too quiet. Let's get moving.
In Alter Echo at least, the entire world looks unusual enough to let bullet time fit right in. And at present, there are other camera tricks to maintain the game's strange styling. It'll be out at the end of September in the UK, when we'll give you the full lowdown. The predecessor to this game may have been the first entry on PS2, but we're pretty hard taskmasters at PSW. The driving game is one of the most saturated genres on this console, not to mention when it's combined with crime like GTA and Mafia. So what lurks under the hood to push GT4 back to the top of the heap? Firstly, the graphics engine may be getting a makeover, as you'd expect, but as you can see here, the efforts are to make the already outstanding details more smooth and subtle, rather than totally in-your-face impressive. You still won't be able to damage the cars, although to be fair, getting the makers of all 500 cars, including the classics and Formula models, to allow this would just take too long and cost too much. Beyond knowing that, the maximum remains at 6 drivers, whether on a one-off race or a championship series. The rest of the multiplayer details are locked up tighter than the X-Files. There's going to be management and car setup modes too, though how effective this will be depends entirely on whether you'll be allowed to drive the final creation yourself. Petrol heads may prefer to keep their hands on the wheel. We know there's just one piece of info you all want to hear about. So when Polyphony lets us know, we'll give you the details on the multiplayer in a future news update. Burn rubber while they trade tech stocks at the Nasdaq building in this urban racing footage. Just like previous episodes, the scenery's so good it's a shame you have to concentrate on the road. Until it's replay time, of course. Encroaching on Colin McRae territory, but with plenty of dust, but none of the mud, rain or snow, is this slightly tougher rallying experience. It's so good it's scary, but Codemasters can rest easy, seeing as you can't damage the car in GT4 and steering won't be marginally affected by mistakes, so people wanting that realistic edge will still get the British game.
Never heard anything but good things about the video game feedback. I mean, THQ does such a great job with the video games. There's no reason for anybody to be upset about it. I mean, I don't even care if you look like a stick figure. If you're on a video game, you got to be pretty happy about it. We do like what's called a real body scan. They have a machine that we sit in and sit still, and they scan the whole body and the face, and they get your face, your tattoos, you know, the color of the tape you wear on your wrists, right down to the exact color of your ring gear and everything else. I mean, they're pretty precise. I mean, they even have like my eyebrow ring in the video game, everything. 2 small children with a side of bacon. No, I stick with a high protein diet, man. Mostly just like egg whites, stuff like that. Stuff that you probably wouldn't want to eat. I find one quite distracting because she's my girlfriend, but other than that, I don't. I can't really name it. I'll say she's the best looking one, and she's a tall blonde, if that helps you out. It really doesn't affect my work in the ring unless she keeps me up all night and I'm tired the next day, if you know what I mean, huh? I shouldn't say it scares me going out to the ring. I'm never scared when I go out to the ring. It's in the back of my mind. There's always potential risk for something to happen. I mean, look at Darren Drozdoff. He's in a wheelchair for the rest of his life from this, you know what I mean? But you know what? If the guy wants to do something I'm not comfortable with, I'm not going to do it, you know what I mean? Like, I love what I do, but I'm going to walk away from this. You know, I'm not going to put myself in risk of injuring myself permanently. You know, I love what I do, but like, it's not going to ruin my life. No, really, to be honest with you, I'd like to do this, and then hopefully I got enough money in my bank account where I really don't have to do anything else, or I can do something else, like, you know, pursue my male prostitute dreams, or open up a strip joint, you know, something like that. To all my fans, I love you.
All units, suspects now heading towards Central.
That's our guy. He's in flight. Get him. Right on target. Shoot the car, Hutch. All right. Starsky. Sharpen up. Come on, Hutch. Stop acting like a rookie. Way to go. Right on the money. Use the ramp, Stars. Nice shot, partner. Great shot. Come on, Starsky. Sharpen up. You're scaring the neighborhood, Hutch. Watch out. Coming through. Hey, partner, we could use more speed here. Move it, partner, or points are getting low. Come on, Hutch, stop acting like a rookie. Great shot. Ah, jeez, we were supposed to catch the car. Yep. The captain won't be too pleased about this.
One kept a 44 Magnum made out of licorice in his flat. The other had a timelessly cool red Ford Torino with the white stripes, while the programme itself had two different but memorable theme tunes. Yes, it's those classic 1970s TV cops, Starsky and Hutch. Problem is, if you're under 27, you'll only remember the duo from countless retro review programmes. Empire Interactive want to tap into the retro market and hope the game will sell well before and after the Hollywood remake hits the multiplex.
Hey, get the hammer down! Going AWOL!
But we've been here before, with fellow car series Knight Rider failing to ever make a good game on any platform. So can the cops do any better?
Take that! He's got off the road! What? Hey!
Taking no chances, actor Antonio Fargas, the immortal snitch Huggy Bear from the show, provides the voiceover throughout, and the game has 18 levels, split into 3 seasons of 6 missions each. The viewer rating tool keeps you on mission as you play. You're a slave to ratings, and if you fail to provide thrills with your driving or stay on the tail of the bad guys, then the show is axed and the actors out of work, imitating a real American TV show.
Hey, your aim's a mite off, partner. Jeez, Hutch, they're the good guys.
When you're losing viewers, you can shoot down icons for a temporary boost. Civilian deaths cause the biggest drop, so you'll have to keep the action strictly on road. We'd have preferred the separated free roaming levels to be part of the game for that GTA feel, but the rating system won't allow it. Other non-gaming level options allow you to shoot selected targets or race around, but that's all. Two-player option with one player using a light gun to shoot makes good cooperative fun, and the game's harder than you'd expect for a console game. Sadly, the lack of depth makes Starsky and Hutch one for the fans of the show only.
wasted.
They're history.
AD's most infamous law enforcer finally makes an appearance on PS2.
Hold it, creep. 10 years, lawbreaker.
Based on the legendary comic strip, Red must patrol the mean streets of Mega City 1 against the ominous-sounding Dark Judges. These undead perversions from another dimension have decided that life itself is a crime, punishable by death. After judging their own world and finding it unsurprisingly guilty, they turn their attentions to Mega City 1. And when Judge Death tries to inflict his own warped sense of justice upon it, there's only one man to call for help. Throughout this first-person adventure, the comic book law enforcer finds himself having to deal with the full spectrum of criminal behaviour, from littering and caffeine abuse to saving the city from the utterly evil Judge Death himself.
You're taking a 3-month vacation.
A full cast of characters from the original 2000 AD stories are present, including Judge Anderson, and the action itself sprawls throughout many famous Mega City 1 locations. Red himself must obey the law he upholds at all times and react according to the severity of all crimes. So you can forget about blasting your way through the game and shooting petty criminals willy-nilly. The Judge Dredd storyline has always been an obvious candidate for a video game blaster, and hopefully UK developer Rebellion can successfully convey the atmosphere and awesome visual scale of the comic book series when Dredd finally starts dishing out retribution later this year. Coming hand in hand with the rugby update is the American football version from EA Sports. And aside from the fanfare surrounding one of the biggest selling sports titles on its home country, what's left to say about the multi-platform series that's become even bigger than The Sims over 14 years?
Good kick should be returnable.
Like every other sports franchise, the players will be better rendered and the team updates faithfully recorded. The music will be changed, but best of all, EA's reluctance to use Xbox Live multiplayer hasn't affected the PS2 for this title. You'll be able to take on another virtual coach and play head-to-head with your teams and trade insults. Sorry, we mean debate tactics over your microphone headsets.
This one falls incomplete, so he ends up overthrowing his target.
We're not experts on American football, so we've no idea how you could manipulate the game to cheat. But EA Sports promised to put a stop to it, so we'll take their word for it. You can take complete control of the deeper and longer-term future of your club, such as deciding on play locations, coaching and management, and with a sense of the theme range of management sims, oversee the price of concessions or merchandise for extra revenue streams. Back in the game itself, the plays can be adjusted by certain analog stick combo moves. Real-life coaches give you access to their sporting playbooks so you can be in their shoes in the style of Championship Manager. The eponymous John Madden's back again with the commentary, and 2 other real-life commentators also lend their voices. It's another sport you're not likely to play in the UK, so whether you got hooked in the 80s or when Channel 5 started showing American football, EA Sports are rolling out their flagship sports entry with the usual glitz. We'll review it when it arrives in September.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Madden NFL 2004.
From the people who brought us the Tomb Raider beta Primal comes Ghost Hunter, a game that places Detroit cop Lazarus Jones in the unenviable role of hunting down the undead.
All right, look. I'm gonna count to 5, and then...
Concur candidates enumerating strategy. Time is of the essence. Please listen. Your hunting must begin as soon as possible.
1.
In brief, your weapons are useless. You cannot kill that which does not live.
When Lazarus stumbles upon a ghost research laboratory in a derelict school, he and his partner Anna Steele inadvertently open a foul can of full torso vapor apparitions from a secret Ghostbusters-style containment facility. While Steele's abducted by one of the ghosts, Lazarus has to deal with the fact that a female spirit called Astral has possessed him, giving Lazarus the ability to see into the realms of the dead, where his partner's held captive. Like Primal, there are 2 characters to control. Lazarus for the majority of the game, who hunts down the spirits he accidentally set free, and his demon half, Astral.
There he is!
Astral can go places that Lazarus can't quite reach, and she'll even learn the abilities of the ghosts caught in the containment facility, allowing you to solve some of the game's trickier puzzles. Mutating spirits, poltergeists and boss characters are all on hand. You can't always see the little blighters, but you can certainly feel the chairs, books and bottles they chuck your way. There's no denying that Ghost Hunter looks absolutely gorgeous too, and the whole compelling tale is full of gaming potential that offers a solid mix of action and puzzle solving. We'll be following this one very closely over the coming months. Sony's futuristic platforming duo are back. Ratchet & Clank Locked and Loaded is the sequel to last year's action-packed title. But with fellow platformer Jak and Daxter gearing up for its second outing, Ratchet & Clank face some serious competition. Furry-faced Ratchet is still mad about gadgets, and you now gain experience points as you fight, increasing your aptitude with various weapons. There are 21 new ones to try out here. For those who played the first adventure, 5 weapons can be uploaded from your old game saves, but the other 15 are fully new additions. Each one is upgradable, meaning essentially that as Ratchet spends more time using it, the weapon gains points until it transforms into a more powerful, entirely different weapon. Ratchet's brand new commando suit is fully upgradable, with up to 5 levels of armor available, and enemies will also gain experience points too, making the same creatures increasingly hard to kill as you progress. Start saving now. Ratchet & Clank Locked and Loaded will be with us by Christmas.
Use the helipad and take care of the body.
Now who got game when it comes to this basketball? Facing other opponents that's over 6 feet tall. Can you shoot a three-pointer? Can you do the finger roll? Can you cross over, drop it down the lane, take it to the hole? Can you hoop it up, alley hoop it up? And when the ball is loose, see how fast you can scoop it up. Have your game face on. I hope you're quick on your feet, playing on concrete and taking NBA to the street. Who are my shorties in the back of me? Who are my players on the right? My shorties on the left.
Hard right, then medium left. Hard left.
Mission 1, start.
The arcade market's not quite as dead as some people like to think. To put things into perspective, the only other platform scheduled for Metal Slug 3's conversion is the hardcore Neo Geo. However, it still brings to mind all those sideways scrolling two-dimensional classics of yesteryear. You've got one or two highly armed soldiers who can become more and more powerful depending on which weapons they get from the prisoners of war they rescue. This latest version splits up the landscape for more variety than just left to right travel. In case you think the odds are against you, you can all jump into a few more vehicles than before, like tanks, helicopters and camels. As well as the multiple pathways, the shooting also goes completely vertical, taking in another strand of classic arcade gameplay. However, these tend to be intermission-sized mini-stages rather than full levels. Completing the game unlocks a trio of characters to play with, but that's the only rewarding extra to the import game at the moment.
Heavy machine gun.
We hope that when it's translated and converted, that the Western releases of Metal Slug 3 will be longer, as it's a little too short at the moment. Unless it was automatically released as a platinum game, it would struggle in the value for money stakes. We'll be back when the conversion's finished and the game's out later this year to give you another look in our own language.
Mission complete.
Wait for me. I'm coming to save you.
Leon, you came to save me.
Thank goodness. I'm so glad you're not hurt.
I can't believe you're safe.
The field experiments with the principles of God's creation of the world.
What a bothersome.
I told you before, to him, this is a game. Now that whip has become the bane of the children of the night.
This whip and my kinsmen will destroy you someday. From this day on, the Belmont clan will hunt the night.
If you want to know.
Beat me!
Welcome! I haven't had any visitors in a while.
But I am beloved by the night. You will taste my powers.
I'll kill you and the night!
Burned into your memory. They haunt you endlessly. That is why I do what I do. Goaded by the familiar sound of the alarm, I rush to the scene to extinguish the fire.
This is a computer hardware lab. There's chemicals everywhere, so be extremely careful. Some of them are explosive.
There has been yet another explosion. We still don't know how many vehicles were involved. How many vehicles were involved in the accident? Any casualties?
Don't say casualty. I'm here to rescue every single person who needs help.
Big shot? I can't believe you're the guest of honor at such a humongous party.
Get it, man. No. Never want to say anything like that again. Never.
I wanted to ask you something.
Every real party needs a good party trick. Want to see mine?
Have you found what you're looking for?
Firefighter, FD8.
発売日は知らない。2004年。おいおいおーい。
The hunt is on as Interplay Entertainment and High Voltage Software bring White Wolf's popular pen and paper game Hunter the Reckoning to the PlayStation 2 computer entertainment system. Touting a brand new story available only on the PlayStation 2, Hunter the Reckoning Wayward exposes the horror of the world of darkness like never before. And now, we take you behind the scenes to hear directly from the creators of the Runaway franchise.
Wayward is a action game where you and a buddy get together and you just kill monsters, do side quests, rescue innocents, and even collect items in the world to create some really fancy weapons.
The main difference between the original game and Hunter Wayward is in the original game it was very linear gameplay. You advanced through the missions one at a time. This time, you're using a hub system. You'll be launching from a mission base, if you will, and going out into the world, and then coming back. You'll receive new goals, which allow you to go back into the worlds you've already explored. So it's just an amazing replayability system where you're going to be visiting the same places, but each time they'll be different.
Working with the White Wolf license, I played Vampire when it first came out. I got one of the first copies of the first edition. So I was pretty excited to work on a White Wolf game. Our correspondence with White Wolf has been great.
A hunter is a regular person who one day is awakened to the fact that evil is all around them. And they never noticed that before until the messengers arrive and imbue them with their hunter powers.
The premise for Hunter Wayward is we have two hunters, Joshua and Devin, both the Wayward Creed. They have uncovered cult activity beginning in the town of Ashcroft. They realize that there's a darker purpose behind this cult and someone is actually pulling the cult's strings, so they call in the help and assistance of the first 4 hunters from Hunter the Reckoning. Once those 4 hunters arrive heeding this call, they find that the 2 original hunters have vanished into thin air effectively. They set out to uncover what happened to them, find out what's behind the cult, and save the day.
There are 5 characters you can play in Wayward right now. There's Deuce, who's the big biker. His strength is his strength and his power. There's Cassandra. She's very martial artsy, very quick, very agile. There's Father Esteban. He's a priest. His powers stem from his ability to sort of use magical edges. And then there's Samantha, who is the ex-cop. She's fast. She has a fairly good weapon. Pretty good use of magic. And then there's the new guy. There's the Wayward, who is a psychopath.
Coming soon, part 2 of the making of Hunter, the Reckoning Wayward. lives among us, hidden under the mask of the night and shadow. This summer, you will be imbued with the power to fight, as Interplay Entertainment and High Voltage Software proudly unleash White Wolf's haunting pen and paper game, Hunter the Reckoning, to the PlayStation 2 computer entertainment system. With entirely new gameplay, weapons, and characters, Hunter the Reckoning Wayward will deliver non-stop action and horror to the PlayStation 2 computer entertainment system. And now, we continue our journey into the world of darkness and take you behind the scenes for part 2 of the making of Hunter the Reckoning Wayward.
Hunter Wayward features 5 characters. First is Joshua, named for the game. He's a wayward, paramilitary, psychotic, big. Do not cross paths with this guy. Next character, we have Cassandra. She's a young raver girl, John Woo-style fighting martial artist. She's really the fast character in the group. Then we have Father Esteban Cortez. He's the magically inclined character. Not as fast as the others, but his magic more than makes up for that. Then we have Deuce, big hulking biker. He's really the strong guy of the group. Takes out lots of monsters with the swing. Finally, we have Samantha, who's the balanced character. She's an ex-cop, great with her pistol, loves using her katana. Hunter Wayward differs vastly from the original. It's not a linear gameplay at all anymore. There's a hub system so you can select whichever level you want to play. There's a way to change characters throughout all the different levels. You can play different characters in different levels where you feel it's appropriate. If you need a faster character to complete the goals in one mission, you can choose a faster character. If you need a slower, more powerful tank battle character, you can select them once you've encountered the mission once, go back and do it the way it was meant to be in your eyes. Play it out as harshly as you want or as sneakily as you want. It's really far more open than the first title was.
Some of the new weapons and abilities, all the hunters now have an area of effect edge that some of them are pretty spectacular actually. That's one of the new things that we wanted to make sure we put in the game. The new weapons, there's a chain gun in the game. We've got grenade launcher that actually has pretty good bounce physics. We have flare guns, chainsaws, axes, swords, you name it, we've got it.
With Wayward, continuing our goal of trying to make a game that was better than the first one, but really working on expanding the music. We've got better sound effects. We're going to have Dolby Pro Logic 2 support. And in addition, we've also went out, we've got these big bands from major record labels, and we're going to insert them into the game to better enhance and make them a more entertaining experience. We're going to do that by adding music videos and music tracks that you can listen to and just give an overall better package for the music and the whole game in general.
Coming soon, part 3 of the making of Hunter the Reckoning Wayward.